Hi Broadcasters, it's me, Miss Lee, and today we're going to learn about the Singapore general elections. The general elections are held at least once every 5 years so that Singaporeans can vote for the people that they want to represent them in Parliament. On the 23rd of June, Singapore Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong announced that the general election will take place this year on 10th July. Now let's watch how the election process is started.
The President, when advised by the Prime Minister, will call for elections by dissolving Parliament.
Wait, what's a Parliament? A Parliament is the main governing body responsible for making laws in Singapore and is made up of members of Parliament, also known as MPs, voted by us Singaporeans, to represent us, the people, and our interests.
He will then issue a writ of election to the Returning Officer, or RO. The RO is the officer who is the overall in charge of elections in Singapore. The RO would then issue the notice of election stating the date, time, and place for the nomination of candidates. The notice also states the requirements for candidates. On nomination day, candidates present their relevant documents accompanied by their subscribers. At the close of the nomination period, if a constituency is uncontested, the RO declares that the candidate or candidates of a constituency have returned as MPs.
Nomination day took place on the 30th of June this year, and candidates submitted their nomination papers to the returning officer to stand for the general elections.
We have a team that has been dedicated to Jurong for several years.
Typically, supporters of political parties show up at the nomination centre to show support for their favourite candidates. However, due to COVID-19 restrictions this election, they were not permitted to enter the nomination centre, although this did not stop them from watching the proceedings on the news.
To field our team in Jurong this GE 2020.
So what you need to know is that Singapore is divided up into geographical areas known as constituencies. And each constituency is represented by an individual or group of MPs from a single political party. And each election gives other political parties a chance to contest those seats in Parliament. So what happens after nomination day? Political campaigning, of course. Political campaigning takes place between the close of nomination day and one day before polling day. They typically involve rallies, walkabouts, door-to-door visits, radio and television broadcasts. Its purpose is to allow candidates to express their views on important issues affecting Singapore and how they would serve their constituencies as MPs. This allows Singaporeans to make an informed choice to vote for candidates they feel would best represent their interests. Due to COVID-19, restrictions have been placed on physical campaigning activities that would cause large groups to gather, so there have been no election rallies this year. Many political parties have focused their campaigning activities online, making use of social media platforms to reach Singaporeans. More airtime on television channels have also been given to political parties and candidates, allowing them to reach voters while safeguarding public health and safety. Furthermore, live political debates were also introduced this election, giving Singaporeans the opportunity to listen to candidates discuss differences in opinions over topics such as unemployment and helping businesses through COVID-19. Election campaigning in Singapore ends 24 hours before polling day, and this day is known as Cooling Off Day, which falls on the 9th of July this election. Election campaigning is not allowed on this day to give Singaporeans 24 hours to reflect rationally on issues before voting. The day after Cooling Off Day is known as Polling Day, which takes place on the 10th of July this election. Polling Day is the day Singaporeans go out to vote. To be eligible to vote, you must be a Singapore citizen and at least 21 years of age. Now let's watch what happens on polling day.
Polling day, voters who are registered in the Register of Electors in contested constituencies would cast their votes between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Registered overseas voters may cast their votes at overseas polling stations allotted to them. At the close of the polls, ballot boxes are sealed and transported to counting centres. A sample count which estimates possible electoral outcome will be announced for each electoral division across different media platforms. Once the votes are counted, the RO then compiles the results from all counting centres for each electoral division. If overseas votes do not impact the outcome of the election, the RO will declare the candidate or the group of candidates with the greatest number of votes to have been elected. If overseas votes have an impact on the outcome, the RO declares the candidate or group of candidates with the highest number of current votes. The declaration of the elected candidate or candidates will be deferred until the day the overseas votes are counted. After counting the overseas votes, the final results are published in the Singapore Government Gazette. Parliament will convene again at a time appointed by the President.
So once the votes have been counted, the party with the most number of seats in Parliament forms the new government. I hope you have learned something about the general elections in this video. I'll see you again. Have a nice day.